You've all got clean hands, I'm assuming. Just run your hands on your rigs, yeah, covered in dust. Now you've got to get that dust off there. You can't actually leave the dust on your rigs, yeah. So we're going to get some acetone and a rag. Sorry mate, my friend, don't move now. Close your hand here. So in this tub I've got some clean acetone, yeah. Got any felt roofers amongst us? Felt roofing? No felt now. Okay. Yeah, one of the ways to actually stop your felt going or your bitumen going everywhere on felt roofing, you used to roll your roll out and then just sprinkle chalk dust down the side of it. So when you actually rolled and the bitumen squirted out, you basically just grabbed it and peeled it off. Because you can't make anything stick to chalk. Likewise, we need to get all this dust off here to make sure that our resin sticks to the fiberglass trims.
Is it the same as just powdered cement as well?
Yeah, anything, yeah. That's it, yeah, just same thing, yeah.
So I do bitumen,
but all
just tip it on the floor on top
all
of the
these
bag.
rigs here, I've got the, got the dust all up there, so clean them all off, yeah. And while you're cleaning them off, I'm going to put my nails in that I've been making sure that you all did yours and I thought I did mine, okay. Don't forget underneath as well, because that's very important. Those miters, you don't have to be perfect because we're going to put resin underneath there and make them look spot on, yeah. All these bits here, yeah, we're going to fill them in, otherwise when you put the fiberglass in it, it just falls through and make a mess, yeah. Never use expanding foam. It's a good idea. You think, squish it up there, then you wait an hour and it comes out, and you cut it off and it comes out a bit more, you cut it off again and it comes out a bit more. It's just hanging around. Just box stand, it's just parcel tape, yeah. And all we're going to do is actually cover that corner up, bond it into there, keep it nice and tight, and tear it off, yeah. It's just something for you to roll against, yeah. Down on vertical. Don't take it underneath because you're going to take the fiberglass mat underneath. Don't worry about going around the corner in there, but just make sure everything's covered. Even a few wrinkles there, it's not going to hurt it. Your fiberglass mat will take all that up. So really what you've got is a nice drum tight finish on there. Yeah. So whether you use parcel tape, this tape, or whatever it is you use, yeah, just keep it nice and tight. Okay, right. So now we've got all the trims down there. They're all bonded down, yeah, so you don't get that wrap when it gets windy, yeah. All your nails in there, you've got 150 centres maximum. You've got a few more with your rigs, that's fine. Now you've been reinforcing bandage. Now reinforcing bandage is 450 gram, yeah. 80mm wide rig, yeah. So you're going to drop that in there, tear the edges. Don't cut them with a knife because when you put them together with a raggy edge, it just smooths them out. Square edges, we can get around that and we'll show you how to do that, but it's best to have raggy edges, yeah. So one down there, one down this side, one along the bottom, one along the top. Keep them within the actual trim itself. Don't take them up here somewhere so you've got to start tearing everything off and oh shit, yeah. Okay, so keep them within that area. Okay, so now you've got two sides, put them to one side, top and bottom, put them to one side. Now when you're on a roof, put them in a box or a polythene bag, so if it does get windy or such as that, you know where they are. And if it rains, this, as soon as that gets wet, you might as well just chuck it in the bin, because you can't dry it out. I've seen guys where it's got wet and they've laid it on a roof in bright sunshine, it's drying out, yeah, brilliant picture, it just fell apart, yeah. Because the styrene have gone in there, it don't work. And then you need two 6-inch pieces, so you thought I'd wasted that, didn't you? There's one there, 6-inch, and then double it up, another one. Now the reason we're doubling up is because all these trims, when they break them down, they actually build them up. They are made to 900 gram, yeah. So that's 450, two together, 900 gram. So we've got no imbalance between the two. Any settlement movement, this will basically go in one piece and expand out. This will be pulling against the building because it's fixed to the building as such, yeah. So we've got two of those, two for one corner, two for the next. Again, one to one side. Then the mat itself, yeah. Now the mat itself is 1 metre wide, yeah, and it's only a 225 gram mat, but you notice you've got a square edge on here and a raggy edge on there. For the simple reason, raggy edge over a square edge just blends in better, yeah. So we're going to drop that on the deck. This way we need a little bit of assistance because you can't hold it in place and put it down at the same time. So I'm just going to roll it out so it's going to sit it inside that trim. Don't take it up the top, that's it, just roll that out for me. And then cut it around about 20mm too long, yeah. It's best being too long than too short, yeah. Just trim it down. Try and cut it square so when the guy that picks the roll up afterwards, there's got a nice square edge. Square edge into that edge there, square to the back, down there, trim that to suit, yeah? Get rid of that bit. And then roll that up. Roll it up the direction you're going to be laying it. Now you can lay this from top, bottom, top, side, diagonal, any way you want, yeah? But roll it in the direction that you're going to be laying it back out. And then it's advised to actually mark that up, number 1, polythene bag, put it in a polythene bag, keep it outside of you, yeah? So again, if it rains, you just grab the bag and lay it off the roof, yeah? And put number 1 on there, and then number 1 on here, because this roof might not be an oddball shape. It could be 10 metres here, 10 metres 300 at the end. So you need to make sure your fiberglass you've cut is for where it is. And always do your fiberglass first. Get everything cut down for the roof, so you know you've got it, yeah? Otherwise, we'll be rolling it out, and you're a little bit of fiberglass short to finish the job, and suddenly you're running around looking for some fiberglass. If you've cut it, and you know it's there, even if you run out before you start the job, you can send somebody out to get the fiberglass, because the whole idea of this system is, once you start, just keep going, yeah? It's very weather dependent, temperature dependent, etc, etc, so make the best for the weather, get all your fiberglass cut, have your resin ready, everything you need to actually go with it, yeah? Okay, so cut that down, that's ready to go. This little bit I've got left here, I'm going to cut that into 4 equal pieces. So straight edge on one edge, and then overlap it, and then down the middle of it, I'm just going to tear it so it's got a raggy edge. So square edge, raggy edge, double them up, and I'll put them on the corners, because obviously that bandage isn't big enough to cover all these corners, yeah? Now we don't need the same amount on there, that's a 900 gram. This is 450 now, we've doubled it up, which is more than enough for these areas now to match the bandage that's going around it, okay? When you put them together, don't put them exactly on top of each other, just offset them slightly so it feathers that edge out, so you ain't going to build up, yeah? You've got 2 of them cut, ready for that. Okay. Right, so I've got all my stuff ready. All I'm going to do now is put some resin together. So we'll get my pot. Now, your base layer of resin is going to go down. Now, onto this surface here, the actual coverage is 0.85 litres per square metre. This rig is very close to 1 metre. By the time we've actually added the trims and everything that you're going to paint out, yeah? So, probably your best bet with your roof is actually get your chalk line out and do it in 1 metre grids, so you can see 4 metres. I'm going to do today, 1, 2, 3, 4 squares, 4 metres, yeah? And then, don't forget, every bandage you put down, as soon as you come down here, for every 10 linear metre of bandage, you're going to need a litre of resin for that as well, yeah? Okay? So if you just squash it around a little bit and go, well, if I go litre per metre for my base layer, now that can vary, that can go up to 1.4, it can drop down to 0.5, but just rule of thumb, litre per metre, because it rhymes, yeah? When you do your top layer, which is half the work, it's half the litre-ish, half a litre per metre, simple as that, yeah? Your top layer, or your top coat, will always be half a litre per metre, no matter what. Your base layer, depending on what you're going onto, if it's a really rough surface, you use more resin, aren't you, because it's going to soak into it, yeah? Okay, right, just stay where you are, I'm just going to put some resin in your pot. Okay, so there's my pot of resin, got 1 litre in there, there's my pot, you tell me how much I need. Actually go in there, look at the temperature gauge, which is knocked about somewhere, and I'll put it down, and I'll put it in. It won't be far away, wherever it is. It's up there, look. Okay, so surface temperature, hitting that, yeah, I'm showing 16 degrees. So on the side there, 1 litre of resin, across here, yeah, 3 scoops, yeah, okay with that?
What if we put not enough, what happens? Would it ever
It'll go off eventually, but it'll take a long time to go off, and it could actually go off in patches. Some areas will go and others stay sticky, yeah. So, now we're at 16 degrees. Now in here, we know it's not going to get any hotter, yeah. It's more or less stable at that temperature. Fucking resin now, okay. But let's say that you're working outside, and it's 16 degrees now, and you know it's going to get warmer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you could step it up, but don't go like straight from 5 degrees up to 16 degrees and gone from 2 scoops straight to 4. Yeah. Because it'll just catch you out. And likewise, when you're working down, if it's getting cooler, yeah, try and work out to the temperature you're going to be working in when you're laying it. Not so much when you're mixing it, when you're laying it, yeah? But it's never going to be more than 1 degree each side of this, yeah? So for like 16, it changes at 16, 17 up to 30, yeah? So, because it's stable, it's not going to get any warmer. Someone's out there, not in here, yeah? I'm going to mix it to what it says on the pot, okay? So 3 scoops into there, and if we can find the catalyst. That's it, spot on. Good job you lads are working well today, because I'm thinking I was on the pot. So into there, 1, 2. Now it's not baby powder, you're not actually leveling it off like that, just get it in there so it doesn't fall off the side of the scoop. The mixing paddle, which is not in there, I thought it was. Which is. And give it a good mix in. Now you can see how thick this resin is, yeah? It's not like conventional resin, really runny and thin. Because it's got the pigment in there. Now if it's a brand new tin, you need an electric mixer with a paddle and mix the actual new tin up. Now I've not got enough tin in this tin to do all of this, so I will crack a new tin open when it comes to it. And you can actually see what it looks like as we settle in the tin. Yeah? Shelf life on this, 12 months, thereabouts. Yeah? Look after it, keep it in the right temperature. You don't want it cold and you don't want it hot. Around about 15 degrees is ideal. Yeah? But we can't always get 15 degrees exactly. And don't forget, when you set this on the roof, cover it over. Because in bright sunlight like this and the dark colour tin, the tin will get mega hot. Yeah? It'll absorb heat. So your surface temperature might be 16 and your tin it's up to 30. Yeah? So you try and keep them close to each other if possible. All you need to cover them with a white cloth or a bit of Tyvek or something like that, just keep them cool. Yeah? Now, I think I've got a few in my van. I've got some little magnets, magnetic ones that stick on the side of the tin, just keep an eye on what the pots are. Yeah? So if you remind me on, otherwise I will forget. Okie doke. Now you need a roller. The detail work we're doing now, so you just need a 4-inch roller. It's waste time. You can't do it with a 4-inch roller, a 9-inch roller. Get it well in your pot, get it well sewn, and you paddle into the acetone, and you get a pair of gloves on. So 1 pair. I'm going to put 2 pair of gloves on here because it could be, I could rip the glove or get one all messed up. It's a lot easier to put another glove on, or tear a glove off rather than put another glove on if it's hot and sweaty. Yeah. Now, like I say, I'm using chuck away gloves. Make sure you get the right hand as well. No, it's that one. But if you've got some marigolds, they're alright. Use some marigolds, anything like that, because once it's actually resin set on there, basically you just blow into the marigold glove and basically cracks off and nice clean gloves to work with. Paintbrush to hand, yeah. Get all my details now. Now I'm doing the corners first because I've got nice fresh resin, so I'm going to do the corners first. You do need a spot board on your roof, so you're not mixing all your mess up, making a mess on your roof. But on this little roof here, probably the smallest roof you'll ever build, I'm not going to bother with a spot board. Now the whole idea of our system is get 70% of that 1 litre underneath your rig, yeah, underneath the fiberglass before you do it, yeah. So it's not easy to work out when you're doing your main areas, it's easier then, because you put 7 roller loads underneath and 3 roller loads on top. 70 underneath, consolidate, bring through 3 roller loads on top, yeah. So 70-30 for your base layer, okay. If you don't, what happens, even though that's thin mat, if you don't put your resin underneath, as you see now, yeah, you've got areas there which is just not bonded, yeah. So you do then make sure you've got white bits of fiberglass as well, that you cover it all, yeah. And then when you roll it while it's not saturated, give it a coat of resin on the outside edge, it gives you something to stick to, yeah. Now if you didn't acetone wipe this, as you're putting this on, it just comes straight off again. Underneath, don't forget that bit. Don't put your roller back in the pot, temptation's over there, you go straight edge there, slap it onto the corner, have it so it hangs down 1/2 inch, yeah? and then just relax it. Just drop it into place and just leave it alone, because now your styrings are breaking down with the mat and makes it more malleable. Yeah. While you're waiting for that, go to the opposite corner. Now I'm not saying that if this room's 30 metres long, you run to the opposite corner, because you've always got a trim that needs bandaging up within 3 metres of this corner. Yeah. Okay, into that corner, all over. Don't forget the bit underneath, because you're going to take that mat underneath there. Make straight edge, flick it into that corner, have it hanging down 1/2 inch. Make sure you've got enough around the corner, bring it round so it actually covers all that corner. 1/2 inch hanging down, chuck the rest on the top and just let it relax. Okay. Now that's been down for a couple of minutes, so I can get into there now. Put my glasses on so we can see what I'm doing. Right, corners. From the corner here, I'm going to roll outwards. Don't press too hard, but what you're doing, you're rolling it until you see the fibres start to break down and go curly. Same on this side here, you've got the 1/2 inch below, roll it out until it starts to feather out that straight edge if you've got one on there. And then roll that bit underneath. Now gravity is going to take over now, and it's going to fall back down again. But if I didn't roll that underneath, I wouldn't know where the next one for the 1/2 inch is. Yeah? Drop it on top, drop it in place, and basically roll it out. Now this is your base there, so I'm not too worried whether it's got a few little pinholes in, because when I put my next layer on there with that resin in between it, it's going to fill it all in for me. Yeah. Okay, but try and roll it nice and gentle, don't press too hard, and then get your next piece ready. Chuck it on there, get some resin on that, both sides, roll it over. Make sure you've got no fibres showing. Don't put your rolling back in the pot. Straight edge, offset it slightly so don't go in exactly the same place. Yeah, bring it round a bit, fold it in. That's why you need gloves, because it is messy in this point. Yeah. Then back to that corner. Excuse me. For the benefit of the camera, you're rolling. Yeah. Okay, so you just roll from the corner outwards. Don't press too hard. If you press too hard, your roller will seize, stop turning, and basically pull the fiberglass and rip it. Yeah. Drop it over. And you're just rolling it nice and gentle in all different directions until you bring that fiberglass resin through. And tuck it underneath, make sure it's bonded underneath there as well. Second piece onto your spot board. Fix it up and make sure you've got both sides, don't leave any fibres showing. Don't put your roll back in the pot. Offset it slightly again, so basically drop it into place, drop it around the corner, 1/2 inch hanging down, offset it slightly and just tuck it and fold it into place. So you can actually fold that in and get a better finish to start with straight away. It's loose. Yeah. Back to this corner. Sorry guys. So I'm rolling out from the corner now. So again, just rolling from the corner, tucking underneath first until you see the fibres, resin coming through and all the fibres start to break down. Just by leaving that a couple of minutes. Some systems they tell you roll it straight away, you paddle and roll with your metal roller and such, and nothing's happening. Yeah, this breaks down all by itself just by having the resin on there. Watch out for pinholes. So this is your final coat, or it could be your final coat. So try and get this down as good as you can get it. Make sure there's no pinholes, make sure it's not bird mouthed anywhere, make sure your fiberglass mat hasn't broken down. But you've got 2 layers on there now. You've got 225 mat, sat on resin, then a bit layer of resin, then 225 mat and more resin on top of that. So it's quite built up, that is. If you could actually cut through that, you'd probably find that it's probably well over 1 millimetre thick in total. Yeah. Back onto this corner, from the corner through. From the corner through. Now we all start at the corner and roll out one direction, yeah. And then bring the resin through. And when you're rolling it, you'll see the fibres breaking down, you'll see the fiberglass resin coming through and it'll sort of glisten. Yeah, you'll actually see it flecking out in front of you. Yeah. Underneath. You just keep rolling it so you've got no pinholes in there and you've got a nice finish on that front edge. And curly fibres, yeah? Okay with that? So you could call that a day with this, that's your lot. Or you could lose one of the gloves. I'm going to use a bit of tissue now, the finishing tissue I mentioned earlier. Yeah? Because this is in your face, it's a bit client sees. Yeah? So by putting a bit of finishing tissue on there, it just makes a better job of it. So I'm going to cut some of this off. And when you're cutting this off, don't just tear it, otherwise you'll just tear it away. Bunch it together and then pull it apart. Okay? So it's 150 wide, 100 metre in a roll. You're not going to use much of it. And all you're going to do is drop that on the top of there. Again, cover your existing fiberglass. Bring it out a little bit. Again, take it half inch below. Yeah? Drop it in place. Same with the opposite side. And you'll see the difference by putting this in there. It just saves a lot of sanding down. Because when you come to actually do this corner, you could just leave it like we did with the resin and the mat, yeah? Or you could put this finishing tissue on there. So again, from the corner, through, roll well past them loose fibres. If you don't, them loose fibres will basically just bunch up around your rolling. As you roll back, then you just wrap around your rolling. From the corner, coming through. Over the top. Bring that fiberglass resin through. Make sure you've got no air bubbles in there, any pockets in there, just roll them out, keep rolling till they've gone. You see, by using this tissue, it just makes a lot smarter job. So you're not messing about sandpapering everything down. Yeah? Bring the resin through, and if you get creases in like that, break it down. But don't press hard. Don't forget, it's only a very fine tissue. And underneath. And underneath, cover that mitre. Okay, so when we make these trims in flint, what you do is you put the tissue layer down first onto the jig and then build it up with fiberglass rough mat on top of it. Just bring it through, so when they take it off the jig, it leaves a nice smooth surface like that. Okay, okay with that? So, benefit the exam this side, onto the corner, roll right through. Bring the fiberglass through. You'll see actually see fiberglass mat coming through. It starts to glisten in the sunlight. Don't put any more resin on there until you've got the fiberglass mat coming through. Once it's covered, yeah, you can put some more onto there afterwards. Yeah, got the crease into that corner. Just keep breaking it down, keep rolling it, it'll go. And as soon as it's saturated with the fiberglass resin, you'll see straight away all them creases tend to vanish. But just gentle rolling, don't go mad with it. Underneath and underneath. Once it's through, once you've got the resin through there and it's all covered, there's no fiberglass mat showing and the white stuff showing. If you want to, you can put a little bit more on. Don't go mad with it though, just put a little bit on there just to fill it out if needs be. But never put it on until you've actually brought the resin through to start with, yeah? Otherwise, all you're doing is covering up, it may not be out underneath it. Okay with that? Okay, now I'm getting on a bit now. You've probably seen me staggering like an old bloke, that's because I am. So, on site, you can't do this. But today, on these rigs, I'm going to get my crane out and lift that crane up like that. Okay? So you can see underneath. Don't let your client see that. Yeah? Get down your hands and knees on your scaffold and basically just dress it all in. Make sure it's all looking good underneath there. Make sure them miters are coming together nice and tidily. needs be, get your roller, get your brush, put your resin on the brush and stipple in. Don't brush, just stipple. Just make sure everything's just in there. Yeah. Now on this rig you can see all this timber that we put on, all this counter timber. You can see all that. Yeah. So instead of getting underneath afterwards, what about before you actually put your timbers on or trims on, you actually paint that bottom edge. Saves you going underneath afterwards trying to dress it in. And at the same time, paint your timber out so it matches. Yeah? And that stops the condensation getting and rotting your timbers. Because the resin's all in. Yeah? Okay. Same on this side here. Into there. Press it all in. Make sure you've got plenty of resin in there. And with your brush, stipple in so all your miters look like they should do. Yeah? Don't paint, stipple. Basically just stab it with your brush. Okay with that? Yeah, easy enough, eh? Okay, so you need a crane on site like that. Yeah. Basically down in hands and knees on the scaffolding. Or if you've got a ladder, top up ladder. If you're on a ladder, take a bit of care. Yeah. Okay, back to my resin pot. So now I'm on the roof, yeah? It's all about getting the resin into it, yeah? So first thing I'm going to do is towards the back of the area, because this is going to work away from here. I'm going to get some resin into there, yeah? Plenty of resin on my roller. I'm going to put the bandage down onto the resin, yeah? So put the roller into there and roll it out, but keep an eye on that wave of resin in front of it. If it stops, put some more into it. Don't press on your roller, it's all about getting the resin in there. If you press on roller, all you're doing is spreading it out and thinning it out, too thin. Yeah? Then get your bandage. Bandage for the bottom one, bottom to the top. Cover your nails, cover the joint. Don't put it right back here, you've still got your joint exposed. You need nails and joint covering over. And if you've got enough resin on there, as soon as you roll that through, your resin will come through. If you've not got enough resin on there, it's not going to come through straight away. Now you can see here, I'm a bit one-sided here, I've got something up there top. I'm a bit short at that side. But while it's still solid, because it's not broke down yet, I can actually pull it round and get it where I need it to be. Yeah. Okay, now I've got my roller wet but it's not saturated, so all I'm going to do is actually paint that vertical as well. Just several thin coats rather than one big heavy coat, and then you don't get runs in it. You were asking earlier, can we go on a vertical? Yeah, you can, but don't build it up too much. Make sure you get plenty of them, bring it through, but don't put too much on it. Okay, I'm not going to roll that anymore because I'm going to let it break down. Okay, into my sides, again, plenty of resin. Watch out for that wave in front of the roller. Get your side pieces. Put it in place. Bring the resin through. Next side piece. Now through 30 metres long, I'm not running down that side. I'm going to get that corner bit done. So into there, get the corners. Find my small piece of my corners, 2 of those on each. Onto my spot board. Wet one side of it. Wet side. Onto wet side. Yeah? So wet on wet. Bring them in there and cover that corner. That bit there, that weak bit. Get in there. Just drop it in place with your roller and dress it into where it needs to be. Yeah? Don't mess about with it too much. And again, same with this one. Wet side onto wet side and drop it on top of it. So again, offset them slightly. Instead of putting them on top of each other, make one that way and one that way. So it covers that lot, but at least you've got that corner totally covered. Now you're not going to get in there with your roller because the angles are too sharp. Yeah, so I'm just going to relax a little bit and get on with something else. There. Well, that corner, why not? Just get that corner done first. There's no set order to actually doing this, as long as you get that bandage in there, yeah? Onto the spot board, wet side, onto wet side, drop it in. Cover that weak point. Onto the spot board, again a bit heavy, use some of that spot board off there. Wet side, onto wet side, just bring it in a different angle, yeah? And do my bandage around the outside, so again, plenty of resin on there, get that resin through, get my bandage ready. tighten the corners. As long as you cover them nails, no problem at all. Bring the resin through, yeah. To the front edge. Plenty of resin and roller, resin in there. Watch for that wave. Don't press too hard, basically just the weight of the roller. Otherwise, all you're doing is spreading it out and making it too thin. Okay, next bandage. Bandage onto there. Cover your nails, cover the joint, make sure it sits in place. Yep. Bring the resin through. Okay, so we've already learnt at the moment, if you leave the actual mat for a little while, it breaks the styrenes down, so it makes it easy to work with. So while that's breaking down, I'm just going to get my brush and stipple these corners in. Just break them down, just keep hitting them, spread them out a bit, make sure that corner's nice and tight in there. And just let it break down. That way you can get tight in there, yeah?
So in any joints or bits and pieces you can still use
Yeah,
this to
yeah.
feather out.
Exactly the same on top of it. If it's a bandage around the front, you're going to see, again, put tissue over top of it, just makes it easier, yeah? So into there, you see this bag quite baggy there because you can't get it with a roller, yeah? And I don't want it under there. Make sure you mask and tape on your wall, otherwise you're going to get like this. It's all over the place. If you want to put your resin down there and down the side to seal it all in, yeah, no problem at all, but put masking tape on your wall, otherwise it'll end up everywhere. Okay, and all I'm doing is stippling it. So while you stipple with a brush, as the bristles hit the actual fiberglass, the bristles break out and it takes the fiberglass with it. So it just makes them curly as well. I'm not so worried about vertical there because that's going to be covered by cover flashing. But the bit on the deck there, I just need to feather that out, and all I'm going to do is keep hitting it with a brush on the end until it feathers itself out. So now that line's gone, yeah? I've done with a brush now, so I don't need that anymore. That's going into the rubbish bin. So, in the bin. Clean my spot board up if you've done that. So we'll start with this one first, yeah? You can see how there's all straight fibres in it, yeah? Can you see it from there? Yeah? I'm going to use the resin because it's an 81 bandage, a 110 roller, so it squirts some resin each side of it. So I'm going to use that resin and roll it through at 90 degree. And as soon as I start rolling at 90 degree, you'll see the fiberglass start moving round and going from straight fibres to wavy fibres, yeah? Backwards and forwards. Don't do it one direction all the time because all you're doing is push the fiberglass away from the actual joint. But use the resin that you've dumped out on the outside of it to dress it in place. Any bits that fall through, we get rid of them as well. Okay, and just work your way around the corner. So we did that one first and then we went down this side. Yeah, again, just rolling all the way through. Bang into this upstand here, get it into there, yeah? Rolling through, and just watch. As soon as them fibres go wavy, that's it, you've cracked it, yeah? Always check your corners you've already done because there's a good chance you could have walked into them. Yeah, working your way through, all the way through there. Turn around the corner. Check the detail you've already done, make sure you've not broke it. Just make sure them fibres stick down. So you've got nothing sticking up, yeah? Okay with that? So now you've gone from dead straight fibres to curly fibres or consolidated fibres as we call them, yeah? These straight lines on there, if you don't want the straight lines, hit it with your brush or roller at the end, basically just break them down so you don't see the lines anymore. This isn't important doing this because you're going to cover with a piece of mat anyway, yeah? While your roller's wet but not saturated, take your trims up, just a wash coat on your trims so you're not putting a massive heavy coat on them every time. Keep an eye on your corners because if you've got pockets on, there's a good chance you could catch your pockets. And that is your first phase. That is basically what you'll be doing first off. Make sure any build-up that's spilt on your roof, flatten it all out best you can, yeah? So you haven't got a massive amount of build-up. That's your first job. Pipe details, outlets, roof lights, everything, just bandage them all to start with. And then you start on your roof, okay? So when you start on your roof, that's all cured off. Take it that your rigs have cured off as well, yeah? So now you're going to start putting resin down to actually take your mat. So 1 roller load, 2 roller loads, 3 roller loads. Don't sound much going from side to side, so I'm not building up at one end. Yeah? 3, 4, 5, which leaves me 2 more for 7 underneath. Yeah? Okay, put that out of the way. Get my mat, drop my mat in place. Make sure it's all fitting in. Now, never go more than 1 metre, because obviously you've got to reach back to it. If you're on the roof working here, this is a nice clean bit of roof, because you've used the spot board, and so you're working this direction, rolling towards yourself. Or, you go sideways, it doesn't really matter which way you go. Yeah? What I'm doing now is wetting out. So basically I'm bringing the fiberglass resin that's underneath there and bringing it through the mat. Yeah? I'm not going to try and consolidate it yet, so with some systems they say get in there, start rolling like clappers. Yeah? Walk away from it, just roll it out, get it wet out. Now if you put too much resin underneath, it's not a problem because it comes through. So if you notice on this side here, there's a massive amount that came through, and that's why it's all wet there. But the more you get on top, it's only going to come through. And when you put your top roller on, you'll be able to see it even better. Okay, so I'm going to this front edge now. So I know I'm slightly long on there, so I'm just getting my standing knife on that. You're not going to use yours because you've got resin on. Just right about 20mm from the edge. Take that bit off. And bin it. Never waste too much, but you know, that little bit extra there, because it could be a 10-metre roll you've run out. Yeah, because it might just shrink a bit, it might extend a bit, so just wasting that little bit there. It saves messing about, trying to add a bit to it, because you've always got enough. Yeah. Roll that back on itself. How many roller loads are you putting below it? Got 5 in there already. 5, yeah. 6, and then right to that front edge. Careful not going running down the front edge. There's your 7. So that's 70%. Yeah? Drop that in. Wet out. Make sure no fibres still white. Any loose stuff, pick them up, catch them. Yeah, anything around the side you might have walked into, keep an eye on that. There's a good chance you could have walked into it and damaged something, so keep an eye on it all the time. So now that's wetted out, now it needs consolidating. You won't be using a 4-inch roller to consolidate. Big 9-inch roller on a staff, square bucket with a bit more resin inside there, and you can put your 30% resin on top. So 3 roller loads on top now to actually consolidate that. You see those straight fibres in there, yeah? But as soon as I put these 3 roller loads on top of it, and roll it, you'll see them fibres now moving. If they're moving, that's brilliant. It's breaking it down, and all your fiberglass mat underneath now is going from straight fibres to wavy. Yeah, we're not talking curly perm, we're just talking wavy fibres from straight to wavy, so they're all consolidating in. Okay, 1. 2, and final one, right down the front there, up into there, extra 3. Now on this corner here, you've got 5 layers of fiberglass. You've got 2 corners, bandage, mat on top there. So it does take a bit more rubbing through on there, because you've got a massive amount of build up on that corner. Yeah. So just work it a bit more, especially down the sides where the bandages are. Just work it in all directions till the fibres go wavy. Yeah. Work your way through and down here, because you've got bandage underneath it. Work it a little bit more. Just roll it all directions. It'll break down, especially on these corners. Bring it through. And if your fibres don't want to curl, because sometimes you get obstinate ones that don't want to work, you should just figure of 8 with your roller as you're rolling it. It just sticks it with it, breaks it all down. So you're looking for wavy fibres on that front edge. You can see we've got that defined line on there. Now that line's alright, you don't need to work with it, but if you don't like it, you should just get in there, use it as your roller and just bash it out. Because on the end of each roll, you've got that raggy edge. So if you roll on the end lap, Yeah, you don't want that line showing. You basically dash it out with your roller and your line vanishes and it all comes together as one piece. Okay? The occasional straight fibre is not the end of the world, but you know, roll them up best you can. That's your base layer. Simple as that. Okay, now the other thing you might get asked to do, it's in the book, is doing a bond test to make sure everything's going to stick to it. It's okay. Yeah. To do that, you just need a piece of bandage. You can either use the resin or the primer, no matter which one you use. So I'm just going to dive onto that table and do it on that table there, show you how to do a bond test. Because I've got some resin left. Bit of resin down on the deck first. Now if it's calling for primer in the book, put primer down. Do everything that is in the book to actually make it work. Yeah? So you put a bit of resin down first. Yeah? And you need a bit of cardboard. Or foil, doesn't matter what it is. A bit something. Yeah? Stick that down and put some resin on top of that as well. You get a bit of bandage. Put your bandage on the top and bring your resin through. Now you don't have to do 2 coats on this, basically just a bandage with 1 coat of resin, and it don't really matter whether the fibres curl up or not. Yeah? All you do is bonding that down, and the reason you put the foil bill on there, you've got something to grab hold of to pull it up afterwards. Before you do just let fiberglass hanging out there, you'd have nothing to pull on. Okay? That's basically a bond test. Okay. Right, let's go for it.